it over there.
Test, 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 test. One, two, 1, 2.
This is your 5-minute call for the start of the steer show. Those of you in the first class, the exhibition class, if you have not made your way to the make ready area, please come on up. 5 minutes till showtime.
Good evening and welcome to a very busy day at the Maryland State Fair. So we are ready to start our market beef show here this evening. I believe we are starting with the exhibition class. I believe we have 7 entries, including Caroline Kimball, Bridget Barber, Rhiannon Granger, Gage Axline, Sean Sweeney, Temple Rhodes, and Mason Gentry. Weights on these steers range from 701 pounds to 1,331 pounds. Just a quick update for those of you around the ring who are watching this evening. We might have to pause occasionally. We do have some exhibitors that are trying to finish up showmanship in the swine barn, and we may run into some exhibitors showing their goats also. So if you all could be a little patient with us and understand that we might have a lapse or need to wait a few minutes for an exhibitor, we would appreciate that. But again, in the ring now, we have our exhibition class. And then we are going to move into our Angus division. It looks like some of our Angus steers have already started making their way to the ring. Class 1 Angus steers: Hunter Hoff, Austin Nussbaum, Jordan Oler.
First class here again, as they explained to me, exhibition class. Again, to make their state fair here, they have to meet a certain weight. They also have to meet ready gain. These steers in this class apparently just missed out on the ready gain, so they aren't qualified to show in the rest of the steer show. But again, I think a really nice class of market steers, and that's how I'm placing them here as a market class. The smoke-colored calf that I start off with, just rugged bone, stout made, heavy muscled, up over his top. I like that short loin, how much width and dimension he has up into that loin, into that hip area. You get your hands on him, he really handles really nice and firm over those ribs, handles really good. Again, a steer when taken to the rail is going to have a high-quality carcass. This white Charolais-looking steer coming next. Go ahead and lead him out, buddy. The Charolais-looking steer coming next, again, I think is the next heaviest muscled with the combination of finish that he has over that rib cage and again over that last rib. I think a steer that's very functional at the ground, probably not quite as eccentric and as pretty fronted as maybe our class winner, maybe doesn't have all the bells and whistles that our class winner had, but I think a really good type of feeding calf. Again, a steer that's going to be a high quality on the rail. A red shorthorn looking steer coming here third. A very attractive, eye-appealing calf from the side. A steer, again, that gives you a nice look. He's really square and true in his lines, very functional at the ground, can get around and move. He just gives up the muscle and mass compared to the two steers ahead of him. A steer, again, that probably needs just a little bit more weight, a little bit more pop and power when you get behind this calf as far as muscle goes. Young ladies, white park-looking steer coming next. We can bring the other one behind it too. Again, I think two really nice steers, a little bit lighter on weight. When you get your hands on them, they get a little bare over that rib, over that last rib into that loin edge. Again, I just like to see a little bit more finish on these calves. But again, I think very functional, practical feeding type of steers. Our Hereford steer that rounds up here again a steer that when you get your hands on him is just a little leaner. You analyze him up over his top, gets a little bit more angular, a little bit more peaked up over that hip. I'd like to see a little bit more muscle and product to that calf. I really like the calf that rounds off the class. Again, we're looking at a market weight here, but he's more of a progress type of steer, and if he was in a progress class, he'd probably do really well. You like the overall power and balance from his footwork and his bone work, a steer that's really balanced from front to rear and top to bottom, and has a lot of good look and a lot of muscle shape to him as you analyze him. Just gets overpowered in this market class here today. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Results of that class was first Mason Gentry, second Temple Rhodes, third Sean Sweeney, fourth Bridget Barber, sixth Rihanna Granger, and seven Caroline Kimball. Reading down your program, 7, 4, 6, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Our first class of Angus steers is in the ring. We have Hunter Huff, Austin Nussbaum, Jordan Oler. Steers in this class are weighing 1,145 pounds to 1,164 pounds. Break 2, we're looking for Madison Oler, Lexi Zepp, and Grafton Condon.
Really nice trio of steers here to start off in our Angus division. And again, steers that probably aren't quite to that market-ready weight that we're looking for. That's ideal for the industry right now. But again, I think these are three real well-fed steers. You get your hands on them, they handle really good. I like this calf that starts the class. He's kind of got that show steer look to him. I like the added bone structure that he has underneath him. I like the added look and extension he has up to that first 1/3. A steer, again, that's true and level out over his top. You get your hands on him on that last rib into that loin, and he really handles really nicely. Good handle on the top side of this calf. You get behind him, he has the most natural width, the base, the most natural width through the center portion of his quarter. Again, I just think a really nice complete steer here to start off this class. I like the added length of body this calf in second has. Really extended, long hip, long spine type of steer. Again, a steer, you get your hands on him, he gets into that choice grade real easily. A steer, when you analyze him, he gets a little bit narrow behind. He lacks some of that explosive muscle pattern compared to the class winner. You get on top of him as far as structure, gets a little puffy in that hock. I'd like to clean that up just a touch. But again, I think a really nice calf. This class, the steer that rounds off the class, again, just one of those good feeding type of cattle. Steer that, again, is going to get into that market-ready weight in the right time, in the right space. But again, a steer that just gives up some of that extra look, some of that extra structure. But again, really well-made, very practical feeding type of steer there to round off the class. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Nice set of steers.
Congratulations to our Class 1 Angus. First, Austin Nussbaum. He receives a red rate of gain. Second, Jordan Oler with a white rate of gain. And third, Hunter Huff with a red rate of gain. Reading down your program, 3, 1, 2. Entering the ring now, we have break 2, Angus Steers, Madison Oler, Lexi Zepp, and Grafton Condon. Steers in this class are weighing 1,274 pounds to 1,321 pounds. On standby, we need the following: Portland Roberts, Travis Heath, Savannah Williams, Kelsey Troxel, Sarah Whitehead should be in the standby ring at this time for Class 3 Angus Steers.
Again, a nice trio of Angus steers here in this class. And again, I chose to go with more of the show steer type looking calf in this class. Again, a beautiful profiling steer, a steer that's really well made in his first 1/3. I like the extension, the cleanliness of the neck, that jawline into the bottom part of that throat latch there. Just comes together really nicely. He's really long spined, really smooth up over that tail head out through that hip. A steer, again, he is the freshest handling steer when you get your hands on him. He's got enough cover, but he feels tight, feels hard up over that last rib into that loin edge. Again, a steer I think is adequate and full, has enough muscle when you get behind him. He's a wide tracking type of calf. Again, I think just a really nice place to start. It gets a little closer after that. I chose to go with the young man steer here, just a powerhouse type of calf. You know, this steer's probably got a little bit more middle to him. He's probably got a little bit more as total performance as far as weight. But again, when you get your hands on this calf, he gets a little bit softer for me on that rib. I like to firm him up and lean him down just a touch. Again, a steer that when you get behind him doesn't have as much power as much as his body looks from the side. I like to match that up just a touch better between that steer and the one that wins the class. The young lady that rounds off the class, again, a really good handling calf when you get your hands on him. A steer that's long spine, level hip type of steer. Again, maybe gives up some of that power and mass and width and dimension up over his top through that loin into that sirloin edge into his hip compared to the two steers ahead of him. But again, three really good Angus steers there in that class. Let's give them a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our Class 2 Angus steer exhibitors. First to Madison Oler, second to Grafton Condon, and third to Lexi Zepp. Each of those exhibitors also received a red rate of gain. Moving into our Class 3 Black Angus Steer Division, we are looking for entries from Portland Roberts, Travis Heath, Savannah Williams, Kelsey Troxel, and Sarah Whitehead. These steers are weighing 1,336 pounds to 1,379 pounds. We have one last class of Angus steers, Class 4. You need to be ringside at this time. Peyton Troxel and Molly McGock.
Get it right.
And Gregory Corn. Please be ringside at this time. We also will need our class winners and seconds to stay ringside so we can move right into our champion divisions.
Again, a nice class of steers here as well. And in this class here too, again, a steer that you gravitate towards, has that overall show steer type look, but still very practical and functional as overall type and kind. I'm not going to beat around the bush. You know, both these steers here, first and second, I'd like to modify them just a touch as far as structure, the way they move and get around the ring. And I know we're in market classes, and I know people don't always look at that, but as a cowman and as a cow breeder, you know, we have to think of the contemporaries that these came from. You know, this one could have been a female out there, and they still have to have longevity in a feedlot situation. These steers need to get up, get feed intake, so they have shorter days on feed to get to that market ready stage. So it is important in a steer show as far as structure. I like this calf that wins. He's really good fronted. He's very attractive through his first 1/3, long spine. You get your hands on him, he feels really good over that loin edge and that last rib. Handles down into that lower rib, very fresh in his overall handling when you get your hands on him. A steer too that I think is a little bit deeper in his twist, probably has a little bit more total product there than our calf in second, with the added length of body and added length of hip from hooks to pins in that calf. I think a really nice steer to start. Steer in second, maybe again like a little shorter body. As you analyze him there from the side, you know, he gets a little bit shorter ribbed, a little bit shorter spine, but again, a steer that's packed full of red meat up over his top and down through that quarter. He's not quite as deep, but he's bolder in that quarter when you get behind him compared to our class winner. I just like to freshen him up and clean his chest up a touch compared to our class winner in this class. I really like the steer coming here in third. Really a big, rugged, long body type of calf. Good feeding type of steer. You know, he's the heaviest one out here as well, but again, when you get your hands on him, for his size and scale, I think he handles very well. He puts a lot of good things together there. This steer as well, I'd like to change him over that knee and the angle to his shoulder just a touch. Gets a little bit over center on that knee. I'd like to pop that back into him just a little bit, get himself underneath his front legs just a little bit easier and freer, but I think a really good calf there. You get behind him too, he maybe gives up a little bit of that overall dimension up over his loin, but he is wide-butted and wide tracking from behind. Good feeding calf here the young lady has. He's a big, bold type of steer, a little bit plainer looking compared to the three steers placed ahead of him, but again, a good feeding type of calf. When you get up on him for his body size and the way his skeleton is made, when you get behind this calf, I'd like to see a little bit more depth to that twist, a little bit more lower quarter, a little bit more mass and explosion for his size and scale, but again, I think a really good calf there that's feeding out really well for this young lady. Steer that rounds off the class in comparison to the steers ahead of him. He's just a little bit leaner in his overall makeup and design. He's a little bit harder through that middle, harder through that flank. I'd like to deepen him out, deepen that twist down, just give a little bit more retail product as you analyze this calf. But again, a nice class of Angus steers, nice steer on top. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our Break 3 Angus exhibitors. First to Kelsey Troxel, second to Travis Heath, third to Sarah Whitehead, fourth to Portland Roberts, fifth to Savannah Williams. Reading down your program, 4-2-5-1-3. Rate of gain, Roberts red, Heath white, Williams blue, Troxel blue, Whitehead blue. Entering the ring now, we have our last class of Angus steers, Peyton Troxel, Molly McGee, and Corin Gregory. Steers in this class weigh 1,404 pounds to 1,483 pounds. Immediately following the selection of this class, we will be selecting our Angus champion steer and reserve champion Angus steer at the 2022 Maryland State Fair. It's going to be our first call for our Hereford division. First call, Hereford division.
Nice trio of steers. We get into this weight range, and again, these are on that verge for me for limit on weight and where we want to be in the industry and where they should be done at. And again, these are just good feeding steers. They're Angus steers, and they're bred for performance, and they probably had their best days maybe a month ago. But again, I think steers that are fed well, they're finished well, even though they're a little bit heavier on the scale that I'd like to see here today. The steer that I'm starting with, again, I think when you get your hands on him, he's the freshest handling steer in the trio of them that are out here. Again, a steer that's got plenty of width and dimension. Is he the heaviest muscled one? No, probably not when you get behind him, but he's got enough expression of loin. I like the way that loin edge comes into that last rib. He handles really good over that last rib and into that fore rib. Again, just I think a really good, easy doing type of steer that's going to match his quality and his yield grade really well when he gets on the rail. Our second place steer, again, he's the heaviest calf out here, and boy, I really like the overall power and mass and dimension that he has, and he is the heaviest muscled one. He is the heaviest one. He probably should have the most muscle. You get your hands on him, he's not quite as fresh over that rib as our class winner, but again, I think a really good steer that's long-sided, well-made, just gets a little bit heavier for me, for my particular taste here today, but again, I think a really good practical calf. The steer that rounds off the class, again, a steer that you get your hands on him. He's got plenty of finish on him. I'd like to lean him up just a touch. I'd like to bring him down, clean up his chest, clean up his brisket a touch. I'd like to have him flow just a little bit easier, a little bit longer down his top and down his spine compared to those steers ahead of him. But again, three really good steers there in this heavyweight class. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our Class 4 exhibitors. First, Tamale Magia. Second, to Corinne Gregory. And third, to Peyton Troxel. Reading down the list, 3, 1, 2, with rated gains of red, Troxel, white, Magia, blue, Gregory. We'd like to announce at this time that our bred and owned Angus steer was exhibited by Miss Peyton Troxel, and she will return at the end of the evening to compete for overall bred and owned steer. In the ring at this time, we're going to select our 2022 Maryland State Fair Angus Champion Steer. In the ring, we have Austin Nussbaum with a steer weighing 1,145 pounds. From Class 2, Madison Oler with a steer weighing 1,274 pounds. Class 3 is exhibited by Kelsey Troxel with a steer weighing 1,363 pounds. And from Class 4, we have Molly Maga with a steer weighing 1,445 pounds. On standby, we have Jordan Oler, Grafton Condon, Travis Heath, and Corinne Gregory. We are bringing our reserves in the rings. We're just going to give them a chance to catch up here, our chance for reserves. And we need to have our Herefords to the show ring at this time. Our Hereford show is rather small. We need our Herefords to the ring at this time. Ty Stevens, Ella Jacobs, Taylor Taley, Peyton Reinhardt, Holly Shelton, and Madison Stolberg, please start making your way ringside. We are selecting the champion Angus Steer. Our Hereford show is small. Again, please start bringing your Hereford Steers ringside.
Well, if you would, let's put our hands together ringside for these Angus exhibitors to start off your steer show here tonight. Again, I think a really good quality set of steers, steers that are fed well, they're managed right. All these calves out here are in that white. You get your hands on them, they're going to get into that low choice grade. They're going to handle good. When they go on the rail, they're going to have a high quality carcass, high yielding carcass when taken to the rail. Again, just really good practical feeding type of steers. What the Angus breed is known for is their carcass ability and maternal ability, and these steers really exemplify that. Steers that perform, they get enough finish on them, they've got enough muscle on them to get into that market industry weight range that we're looking for. Again, just a really nice set of steers. There's two to me that kind of stick out. One's maybe a little plainer, one's maybe more of a show steer type of look. Little difference in weight. I think they're both very relative as far as what the industry is looking for weight range. And again, both these steers handle very well as you get your hands on them up over that last rib as well. If you would, put your hands together. I'm going to get you a champion in reserve. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Madison Oler from Class 2, exhibiting a 1,274-pound Angus steer, has been selected as your champion Angus steer this evening. Into contention, we'll take Grafton Condon. Congratulations to Kelsey Troxel for exhibiting the reserve champion Angus steer. We would like to thank EGS Electric for sponsoring our champion Angus steer banner. Entering the ring now, we're going to roll into our Hereford Steer division. In our first class, we have one entry, Ty Stevens, with a steer weighing 1,202 pounds. Break 2, we're looking for Ella Jacobs. I think she's back there. And Taylor Taylor.
Really nice single entry steer to start off the Herefords here, and again, just bumping out of that into that 1,200 pound range. Again, a steer that big bone, big structure type of calf, really rugged in those overall makeup and design. Again, you get your hands on him. He's got plenty of cover over that last rib and down that rib cage. Again, a steer that's got enough power and mass. You know, if you're going to change this one, maybe like to make him a little bit squarer and true out that hip. But again, I think a really well-fed, easy doing type of calf here, really rugged, made from the ground up. You admire that about him. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Nice job, young man.
Congratulations, Ty Stevens. He also will receive a red ribbon for rate of gain. Entering the ring now, we have two steers. First exhibited by Ella Jacobs, second by Taylor Taylor, weighing 1,406 and 1,412 pounds.
Well, again, a class of Herefords here, and again, I think everybody ringside, when this steer comes into the ring, everybody's got to gravitate towards him. I mean, he's a fat steer look, show steer look, mass, pounds, get your hands on him. He's very fresh on the handle. Again, a steer that's explosive as far as muscle up over his top, wide base. I like the pop to his stifle as he gets around the ring. Just an attractive, easy place to start. And for the young man that's in second, that's a good calf. He just got into a ring with one that's really, really good, all right? That's a good feeding steer. I like the bone work underneath him as well. He's long spine. You get your hands on him. He's fed right. Did a nice job there, young man. Just that steer that wins the class. Just an easy class winner here for me today. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations. First, Ella Jacobs with a red rate of gain, and second to Taylor Taylor, also achieving a red rate of gain. Results of this class, 1-2. Entering the ring now, we have our last class of Hereford Steers. Shorthorns, please start making your way ringside. Class 3 Hereford Steers include Peyton Reinhardt, Holly Shelton, and Madison Stolberg. Steers are weighing 1,476 pounds to 1,509 pounds.
Really nice trio of Hereford steers. There you go. Get out in front, turn his nose. There you go. Good job. Nice trio of Hereford steers. Again, like in our last class, just a real easy place to start. Fat steer look, show steer look. Good from the ground, very mobile as he gets out on the move. Again, a steer, when you get your hands on him for his weight, handles very well. A steer, again, when you get behind him, explosive through that stifle, explosive through the center portion of his quarter. Again, a steer that just puts a lot of good things together. You know, is he really super exquisite up through that first 1/3? Probably not, but the way his bone structure is made and the way his body type is and the muscle shape that he has, I think everything blends together in a really nice complete package. Young lady that brings a steer in second, I think best follows him as far as muscle and mass and width and dimension up over his top and out through his hip. Maybe gives up some of that lower quarter compared to our class winner, but again, a really rugged made, big bone, big stout type of calf. Again, we're pushing the limit here on weight as far as where we want them to be, but again, we are the end of August and these calves are getting older if they're spring-born calves. Young lady steer that rounds off the class, you love his added extension. He's a larger frame type of calf in general. He's larger outline, longer spine, and with that length, he just doesn't tie together as good behind that shoulder, up over his top and out through his hip. But again, nice trio of Hereford steers. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our Class 3 Hereford exhibitors. Congratulations, Holly Shelton first, Madison Stolberg second, Peyton Reinhardt third. Reading down the program, 3-1-2. Rate of gain, Reinhardt blue, Shelton blue, Stolberg red. We'd also like to congratulate Holly Shelton. She is your champion rate of gain steer for the 2022 beef show, with a rate of gain of 2.87 pounds per day. In the ring at this time, we are selecting our champion Hereford steer. From Class 1, Ty Stevens with a steer weighing 1,202 pounds. From Class 2, Ella Jacobs with a steer weighing 1,406 pounds. And from Class 3, we have Holly Shelton with a steer weighing 1,506 pounds. Our reserve from Our seconds from Class 2 is Taylor Taley with a steer weighing 1,412 pounds. And from Class 3, Madison Stolberg with a steer weighing 1,509 pounds.
Again, let's put our hands together ringside for our Hereford exhibitors here tonight. Excellent set of Hereford steers. Again, if you're looking ringside and you're watching, and with our 2 class winners out of that second and third class, you know exactly where you should probably be going. These cattle are impressive in their overall makeup. They have that fat steer look, yet still have that show steer look to them as well. I just think the one just excels in everything that I'm looking for in a fat steer, market show steer type of calf. And then the other one I think closely follows that, maybe subtle differences as far as squareness and trueness and maybe cleanliness up through that first 1/3. But again, 2 really high quality calves we're going to select here in the Hereford division. Let's give them a nice round of applause and I'll get you champion in reserve.
Congratulations, Ella Jacobs, champion Hereford Steer. We're going to bring Taylor Taley in for reserve, and our reserve is Holly Shelton. Ella's banner is donated by Rocky Acres Farm, and the table has been donated by Grimmel Girls Show Cattle. We do not have bred and owned in this division. We are ready for our Shorthorn class. We're looking for Francesca Bologna, Peyton Davis, Michaela Langford, Megan Kinney, and Dakota Bernard. We'd like you all ringside, and we'll take a minute or 2 to clear our Herefords. Class 1 Shorthorn steers. We have 1 entry, Francesca Bologna, steer weighing 1,131 pounds. Peyton Davis and Michaela Langford, please line up at this time. Again, we're also looking for our break 3 Shorthorns, Megan Kinney and Dakota Bernard.
Again, a single entry here to start off the Shorthorns. And again, a really nice, clean-made type of calf. He's really lean up over his top, handles good over that rib. Again, a steer, maybe when you analyze him, you like to square him up through that hip. Like to see a little bit more red meat product when you get behind this calf. A little more pop to that stifle, a little bit more dimension through the center portion of his quarter. But again, a really good feeding type of calf there as well. Just needs a little bit more time. Let's give her a nice round of applause.
Congratulations, Francesca Bologna, for exhibiting our first place Shorthorn with a white rate of gain. Entering the ring now, we have Class 2 Shorthorn steers, 2 entries, Peyton Davis, and Michaela Langford. Steers in this class weigh 1,243 pounds and 1,281 pounds.
Two nice shorthorn steers in this class. I chose to go with the white calf. Again, a steer that when you get your hands on him, he's just a little fresher on that handle over that last rib. Again, a steer that's got enough dimension and look to him. A steer, when you get behind him, he does have the added width and dimension from the base to the ground all the way through his quarter up over his hip. Is an advantage over the roan steer that's in second. Again, this calf, I'd certainly like to modify him just a touch as far as the way he motors around the ring. I like to free him up on both ends as he gets out and travels. The roan steer that's in second, again, a good feeding steer. He's at that market steady range. He's right in there. Again, a steer that's ready to go. Again, one that gives up some of that mass and power and muscle up over his top, out through his hip, down through his quarter. I'd like to clean him up through that chest floor and change the angle to the shoulder on him as well. But again, I think two good feeding type of steers here in this class. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations. Congratulations to Michaela Langford first and Peyton Davis second. We'd also like to congratulate Peyton for exhibiting the champion bred and owned shorthorn steer. In the ring now, we have our last class of shorthorn steers with two entries, Megan Keeney and Dakota Bernard. Steers are weighing 1,330 pounds and 1,357 pounds. First call, AOB, first call. All other breed, please start making your way ringside. Class 1, Class 2. All other breeds, please start making your way ringside. Class 1, Class 2.
Two steers here in your last class, and again, two totally opposite type of steers as you analyze them and their body type and their kind and in their structure. So it's some give and take, and you got to do some thinking, and you got to lay where you want to lay priorities down. And like I said earlier, I'm a structure guy. I like cattle that can move. I need them to be functional at the ground and yet still have that market-ready weight, muscle, shape, and still have that look. I think the young man steer does that the best in this class. A steer out on the move, he's good and flexible off both ends. I like the angle and slope to his shoulder as he gets out and travels. He keeps that knee underneath him, is very flexible. He grabs each track as he goes. And again, when you get your hands on this steer, for his size and his weight, he handles fairly well. You get behind him, he does have the added width and dimension. He is explosive through the center portion of his quarter. He's explosive through that stifle junction. And again, I just think a really good steer here to start. The roan steer that's in second, again, you admire his overall look. I like his length of body. I like the extension that he has coming out of the neck, out of the top side of that shoulder. When you get this steer in motion and on the stand, we need to change the angle of that shoulder. He gets a little over center on his knee off that front end. He gets a little bit stiffer and outside of his skeletal design off his rear end. But again, a steer that's good feeding, good made, heavy muscled. I just need to fix him structurally and modify him off of both ends. But again, let's give these two exhibitors a nice round of applause. Nice pair of steers in this class.
Congratulations to Class 3. Winner, Dakota Bernard with a blue rate of gain, and Megan Keeney second with a white rate of gain. Reading down your program, 2-1. Entering the ring now, we are going to select our champion shorthorn and champion reserve reserve champion shorthorn steer. From our first class, we have Francesca Bologna with a steer weighing 1,131 pounds. Michaela Langford is exhibiting your Class 2 with a steer weighing 1,281 pounds. And from Class 3, Dakota Bernard is exhibiting a steer weighing 1,330 pounds. Our seconds include from Class 2, Peyton Davis with a steer weighing 1,243 pounds, and Megan Keeney with a steer weighing 1,330 pounds. Your shorthorn banner has been donated by the DeGasper family.
Again, if you would, let's put our hands together here in our champion drive for our shorthorn steers. Again, probably not as many numbers, but again, I think a nice set of steers. Very practical. They're fed good. They're at that right weight and range for our industry right now as far as finish and weight. Again, to me, it comes down to two steers. Again, I think the one out of that last class, as much power and mass as he has, he's probably the steer that has the most structural integrity out here in this drive compared to the steers on either side of him. Again, maybe one that's maybe not quite as pretty or maybe gives you quite that show steer look, but he's a balanced calf. He's put together well. Everything blends from front to rear and top to bottom. His transition from his shoulder into his forerib out to his flank. And then, like I said before in class, he's explosive as far as muscle and mass. When you get on top of him and you get behind him, just a really good type of calf. Then after that, I think it gets really close for reserve. There's some give and take in both of those steers that you're looking at, the one out of that same class and the white one ahead of them. And so you just got to decide what you want to do, and as far as market ready and weight and muscle. I'm going to go out and get you a champion reserve. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Dakota Bernard for exhibiting the champion shorthorn steer, and to Megan Keeney for exhibiting the reserve champion shorthorn steer. We're ready to move on to our all other breeds at this time. Our first class of AOB consists of one entry, Rhett Axline, with a steer that weighs 1,076 pounds. Class 2, Michaela Comer, Cassidy Still, Peyton Davis. And Class 3, Jonah Grossnickel, Sydney Wise, Kelsey Zepp, Blair Heath, and Francesca Bologna also need to be ringside at this time.
Nice way to start off our ALBs. The young man out here is Rhett. He's got his his white park steer named Tank. And again, Tank did a nice job getting fed. You get your hands on him. He handles good over that rib and on that loin edge. Again, a steer that balances up very nicely. One that maybe you'd like to see a little bit more power and mass to him. But again, I think for that breed, he's a very good representation of that breed and done a very good job. Let's give Rhett a nice round of applause. Congratulations, young man.
Congratulations to Rhett Axline, first place in Class 1 all other breeds. Entering the ring now, we should have Class 2. Steers in this class weigh between 1,155 pounds and 1,205 pounds. Class 3 and Class 4, Michaela Comer, Raven Heron, and Michaela Burrier need to be ringside. 1 bred and owned overall.
Really interesting trio of steers here again as we get done circling and going around the ring here. But again, the steer that I'm starting off with, the young lady brings, again, a steer that all three of these steers, I like to modify them as far as structure and the way they're designed. But again, when you take that aside and you put things together and you get your hands on them and you're looking at total red meat package, pounds on the rail, the way they handle over the rib, this steer surfaces to the top for me. Again, a long spine type of calf. There's not a whole lot of waist on him. What you see is what you get. A lot of red meat. I like the width, the base that he has. The advantage that he has in this class is he does have more natural shape up over his top and more natural shape down through that quarter, and yet still handles really good over that rib. Again, we'd like to loosen him up and relax that spine when he goes, but again, I think a nice place to start in his class. Real practical calf, feeding type of steer here in second. Again, one that is a little bit shorter body compared to that one, but with that shortness of body, he's got a lot of depth of body. With that depth, I'd like to clean his chest up a touch, maybe streamline him out over his top, lengthen him out from hooks to pins, get a little bit more length of out through his tail head compared to our class winner, and give him a little more pop to that stifle. But again, a good feeding type of calf there as well. A nice feeding steer that rounds off the class. A really chunky made type of steer, big topped, big ended type of calf. One that when you set him in motion, again, we need to modify him off of both ends. He struggles out of that shoulder, he struggles off those rear two when he gets out on the move. I just like to change that about him, make him a little bit more attractive, a little more functional type of calf. But again, a nice trio of calves. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to our Class 2 exhibitors, first to Peyton Davis, second to Cassidy Still, and third to Michaela Comer. If you're reading down your program, 3, 2, 1, and then we have rate of gain is red Comer, red Still, and white Davis. In the ring now, we have break 3. Jonah Grossnickel, Sydney Wise, Kelsey Zepp, Blair Heath, and Francesca Bologna. Weights range from 1,255 pounds to 1,272 pounds. Break 4. Exhibitors, Michaela Comer, Raven Heron, Michaela Burrier, need to be ringside. Also, we need Kylie Shoebrooks and Carly Black also to the ring with their break 5 steers. Following break 5, we will move into our champion and reserve.
We'll go ahead and take that lead steer up, the white spotted steer on his head. Again, steer I think is just a little bit softer in his overall makeup and design. He's a little more, has more structural integrity as he gets out on the move and travels, the way he reaches across the ring. Again, a longer spine calf as well. He's got a little bit more length from that last rib out to that hip. Again, I think a steer that's got plenty of muscle and shape up over his top and down through his quarter. And again, yet still gives you a nice look from the side. His biggest advantage, again, is that he is flexible off of both ends when he gets out and moves. Handles good over that rib and that last rib as well. The smoke steer that comes second, again, a really powerful type of calf. And you know, when you analyze this steer from the shoulders back, I like the way he's designed up his spine, out through that hip, and the way he travels out through those hooks to pins as well. Again, a wide base type of calf, a lot of dimension up over his top and down through his quarter. To me, he gets a little bit plainer in that first 1/3, a little bit shorter neck, wider chested. I'd like to free him up and change the angle to his shoulder up on that front end, make him reach out just a little bit more, especially to change the way his neck comes out of that shoulder blade off the top end. But again, I think a really good feeding type of mark there as well. Young lady's black steer that rounds off the class. Again, one steer that's got enough muscle, he's got enough shape, he handles okay over that rib, but again, a steer that just needs to be modified on both ends as far as structure, and he would definitely be more competitive out here with the two steers ahead of him. Again, let's give those ladies a nice round of applause. Congratulations.
Congratulations to our Class 4 exhibitors. First to Raven Heron, second to Michaela Burrier, and third to Michaela Comer. If you're reading down your program, 3-1-2. Rate of gain, Comer white, Heron blue, Burrier red. Entering the ring is our last class of AOB steers. We have two entries. Kylie Shoebrooks with a steer weighing 1,458 pounds, and Carly Black with a steer weighing 1,514 pounds. We will select our champion and reserve champion AOB, and then we are going to have a bred and owned AOB class to select our champion all other breeds bred and owned steer.
We're going to leave these steers as they came in. I'm going to use the young lady's steer that comes into the class first. Again, a really long-sided type of calf. Again, a steer that's got plenty of muscle, plenty of shape. He's wide-based. Again, a steer when you get your hands on him, he handles fairly fresh over the ribs. You know, analyzing this calf and the weight that he is and the frame that he is, he's pushing the envelope for me as far as size and scale of what we're looking for. He's probably a little bit past his prime as far as maturity. I just like to soften him up through the center portion of his body, deepen him up through that flank, just to kind of match him up with the size and scale and length of body that this steer possesses, and it'll balance up the amount of muscle that he has as well. Big-footed, big bone, very rugged the way he's made, very flexible. Very athletic as well. I like the steer in second. He's a good feeding type of calf. Just gets a little bit plainer look to me. He gets a little wastier up to that first 1/3. I'd like to clean the crest up, clean his chest up, just smoothing him up and make him a little fresher appearing, fresher handling when you get your hands on him over that last rib and over that loin edge. But again, a steer that's good feeding, big muscled, heavy muscled, just probably a little past 12 o'clock here for me today. But again, two nice pair of steers. Let's give those ladies a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Kylie Shoebrooks first and Carly Black second. Reading down your program, 1-2. Both received red rate of gains. We are now ready to select our champion AOB steer. Then we will select our reserve AOB steer, and then we will bring back our bred and owned all other breed steers and select the champion bred and owned. Entering the ring at this time, we have Rhett Axline with a steer weighing 1,076 pounds. Class 2 is exhibited by Peyton Davis with a steer weighing 1,205 pounds. Class 3 Our Class 3 winner was Miss Blair Heath. Her steer weighed 1,268 pounds. Our Class 4 winner was Raven Heron with a steer weighing 1,333 pounds. And finally, from Class 5, Kylie Shoebrooks with a steer weighing 1,458 pounds. Would you like your seconds in the ring also, Judge? Okay, thank you.
Come out for our champion AOB. Let's put our hands together ringside for these exhibitors here today as well. You know, you get into this division and a lot of different breeds and different aspects of the industry and different attributes that each breed brings to the industry as well. You know, you look down at Rhett's tank down here on the end, and again, for a white park, that's a good calf. You know, he's a good feeding steer. He's got enough muscle. That's a more moderate type breed of cattle. He's probably at that market stage ready weight. Just a really nice practical calf. We get down to the other spectrum and maybe steer that's maybe a little bit past 12 o'clock as far as weight and size. So you got to kind of fall somewhere in the middle there. And for me, there's a couple steers that really paired up very nicely as far as giving you still a nice show steer type look, still a nice fat steer type look, and still have plenty of muscle and handle good over those ribs. Those are going to be the two AOB champions out of this division. I will go select them for you. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Blair Heath. If we can have Sydney Wise return to the ring. Blair's champion AOB banner was donated by VMI Power Washing. Sydney is re-entering the ring with a steer weighing 1,259 pounds. Congratulations, Sydney Wise, for exhibiting the reserve champion AOB steer. At this time, we are going to do our bred and owned all other breeds class. If my count is correct, I'm going to be looking for 6 steers. So you can bring back, we're going to have 5 steers. Michaela, you can pick one, your best steer you want to bring back, since both of hers were bred and owned. So into the ring one more time. Rhett, are you ready? Okay, Rhett, he's ready to go. So we have Rhett Axline with a steer weighing 1,076 pounds. We have Kelsey Zepp with the steer weighing 1,264 pounds. We have Michaela Comer with her steer. I believe that one was weighing 1,295 pounds. We have Peyton Davis with a steer weighing 1,205 pounds. I don't know which one she took. The lighter one and who? Okay. So Michaela's steer actually is weighing 1,155. And then Jonah Grossnickel steer is weighing 1,255. And we are going to select one bred and owned champion from our AOB division. And our champion bred and owned is from Class 3, Miss Kelsey Zepp with a red Angus that's weighing 1,264 pounds. And we'll see her back later in the evening to compete for champion overall bred and owned steer. We are now ready for our crossbred division. We have 5 classes in our crossbred division. Break 1, we're looking for Charlotte Pollock, Sydney Wise, and Avery Pollock. Break 2, bring your steers ringside, please. Bryce Heath, Brooke Buckler, Eli Barber, and Levi Savage. Again, we are starting our crossbred division at this time. Looking for steers from break 1 and break 2. Entering the ring now, Class 1, crossbred steers, 3 entries, Charlotte Pollock, Sydney Wise, Avery Pollock. Steers weighing 1,015 pounds to 1,125 pounds. Class 2, crossbred steers need to be in the makeup ring. Bryce Heath, Brooke Buckler, Eli Barber, and Levi Savage. First call, break 3. Kenley Nussbaum, Colton Nussbaum, Benjamin Northcraft, and Savannah Roberts. First call, Class 3. Eli Barber, please start making your way ringside. Eli Barber.
Again, a lot of differences in the trio of steers to start off our crossbred division. And again, you put things all together in a most complete package and puts it all as far as muscle and mass and handling. Again, all three of these steers probably aren't right to that weight that I'm looking for here today, so they need a little bit more time. So when you cut it down, you build them up from the ground up and you analyze them and you break them down, this butterscotch steer kind of surfaces to the top very easily. He's a little bit more moderate in his overall type and kind, but a really well-made steer. This is a good calf, good at the ground, blends and transitions from that shoulder into his up in his spine, into that short loin, out through his hip. Again, a steer that's got enough rib shape, enough good doing ability about him, and yet still has the most muscle and mass and width and dimension up over his top. Just in a really nice, flexible, complete type of package for this young lady. Nice job. Our speckle-faced steer that comes next, again, a larger frame calf. A steer, again, I'll grant that he's probably a little bit longer spine than our class winner, but again, a steer that with that length of body gives up the width and dimension from behind compared to our class winner. But again, a steer that's very attractive on the stand, very flexible off the move, very fresh handling when you get your hands on him as well. And that's what I like about him, is his structure. That's what gets him into the second spot here over our third place calf, is he is a good made, good structured calf from the ground up. He just needs a little bit more time here today, fill out, add some more pounds of red meat into this calf, and he's going to rival that class winner here in this class. Young lady's black steer that rounds off the class, heavy muscled calf, big top, big quarter type of calf. I'm not going to argue with you there. A steer, when we analyze him and we put him in motion, he's a little more pinched in the pins, gets a little bit outside of himself as far as his skeletal design and outside of himself in the shoulder area. I'd like to change the angle to that shoulder, make him more flexible off of both ends, drop that spine down just a touch when he gets out on the move. But again, a nice trio of steers to start off this division. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Class 1 exhibitors. First to Charlotte Pollock, second to Avery Pollock, third to Sydney Wise. Reading down your program, 1, 3, and 2. Each exhibitor earned a white rated game. Entering the ring at this time, we have Class 2 Crossbred steers, Bryce Heath, Brooke Buckler, Eli Barber, and Levi Savage. Steers in Class 2 range in weight from 1,148 pounds to 1,233 pounds. Break 3, Kenley Nussbaum, Colton Nussbaum, Benjamin Northcraft, and Savannah Roberts. Start heading ringside at this time. Break 4, Madeline Rhodes, Jackson Rippian, Gabe Dell, Peyton Zepp, and Wyatt Mast. First call. First call, Class 4, makeup ring.
We got a lot of differences in kinds and shapes out in this class of crossbred steers, and I guess for me, the smoke cap that starts off this young man has is probably the compromise steer in the class. He's probably got the most boxes checked as far as what we're looking for in a market steer, as far as getting close to that right weight range that we want. Probably as far as muscle shape, he's probably as big topped and as stout as anything that's out here. You know, with that being said, would we like to extend him up through that first 1/3? Absolutely, but he's cleaning that jawline down into his chest. He's very flexible on the move when he gets out and travels. Again, a steer that when you get your hands on him handles very nicely. I like the added foot and bone that this one has. And he also tracks wider from behind when you get out behind him. That's the advantage he has over this smoke-colored calf in second. This calf came in the ring, and you really like the profile. You really like the show steer look in this calf, and he gives you a nice look when you got him on the stand from the side. To me, again, he's wide-topped, big-topped, has a lot of width up high, just doesn't carry that width down low. He gets really narrow tracking from down low and from behind. I like to stretch him out and widen him out, explode him through that stifle in the center portion of his quarter, get a little bit more product there for his size, for the amount of bone and length and stretch that he has. Just not adequate enough as far as muscle shape for me from behind. But again, a very attractive steer from the side, gives you a nice look. Some give and take in the next two steers. This red calf that comes out next, again, just one of those good no holes type of calf. Good feeding steer, puts a lot of good things together. He's packed full of red meat. He handles good, very flexible off of both ends as well, big and stout boned. You know, he's smoother blending as you analyze him from front to rear and top to bottom compared to the steer that rounds off the class. And I guess that's what gives him his advantage in third place here, is that he is smoother in transition from front to rear, from that forerib back out through that hip. I like the calf here that rounds off the class. Again, a really heavy muscle type of steer. Got a lot of red meat in him up over his top and down through his quarter. He gives up quite a bit of weight and performance compared to the steers in the class ahead of him. But again, I think a steer that just needs a little bit more time. However, we do need to modify the way he flexes off that hock, off those rear two. But again, a nice group of steers there. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Class 2 Crossbred exhibitors. First to Levi Savage, second to Brooke Buckler, third to Eli Barber, and fourth to Bryce Heath. Reading down your program, 4, 2, 3, and 1. Heath and Buckler had white rate of gains, Eli Barber blue, and Levi Savage red. In the ring now, we have Class 3 Crossbred steers, Kenley Nussbaum, Colton Nussbaum, Benjamin Northcraft, and Savannah Roberts. Weights of these steers are between 1,295 pounds and 1,318 pounds. Break 4 steers are needed in the makeup ring. Madeline Rhodes, Jackson Rippian, Gabe Dell, Peyton Zepp, Wyatt Mast. We also need our last class of steers to the ring at this time. Raylan Wagner, Bodie Griffith, Molly McGee, and Christopher Martin.
Again, this class of black steers here in our crossbred division, and again, I'm going to be honest, there's not one that just jumps out at you. Again, I think the young lady steer that wins this class is the compromise steer. He complements all the good features that we need in a steer, puts all the good things that the other steers have in a more complete package that's a little more functional at the ground, a little bit more flexible, has the added width and dimension as well, still is fresh to the handle when you get your hands on them. Again, I just think a real nice place to start when you put all the good things together. Young man steer that comes next in second, again, I think young lady, I'm sorry, honey. Let's pull her out, yep. Sorry about that, young lady. But again, there you go, nice smile. I think, again, complements our class winner. This is a heavy muscle type of calf. You get up on top of him. He's got enough width and dimension. Again, a steer, like I said, all these steers need to be modified as far as structure and changed a little bit. But with that structure, I think she still balances up enough. I think he puts together enough muscle and handle when you get your hands on him. Again, a steer that's very fresh when you put your hands on him as well, and I appreciate that about him. Kind of a longer frame, longer spine type of calf coming next. With that added length, I love the levelness from hooks to pins in this calf. One, again, that needs to get modified as far as structure, but with this added length and size and scale, I'd like to see a little bit more dimension when you get up on top of him, up over his top and down through his quarter. He is probably the lighter muscled steer in the class. He just needs a little bit more punch to compete with those two ahead of him. Young man steer that rounds off the class, again, a nice feeding type of steer, a little bit more moderate in his overall size and kind. He's got a lot of red meat and muscle, but he's also got some issues as far as structure. We need to change them about him, make him more functional as you get him out on the move. But again, a nice set of steers. Let's give him a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Class 3 exhibitors. First, Savannah Roberts. Second, Kenley Nussbaum. Third, Colton Nussbaum. And fourth, Benjamin Northcraft. Reading down the program, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Each of those exhibitors all received an extra red ribbon for their rate of gain accomplishments. In the ring at this time, we have Class 4 Crossbred Steers, Madeline Rhodes, Jackson Rippian, Gabe Dell, Peyton Zepp, and Wyatt Mast. Steers in this class range in weight from 1,330 pounds to 1,398 pounds. Our last regular class for the evening will be Class 5 Crossbred Steers. We have 4 entries. Again, Class 5 Crossbred Steers, 4 entries need to be in the makeup area at this time. We will follow Class 5 with the selection of the champion and reserve champion Crossbred Steer.
a nice trio of steers at this top end of this class. These 3 steers are all good in their own right. Again, they're all totally different. You know, if these 3 steers were in the classes before, different class, they could very easily win those classes. So there's some give and take, and I struggled between what I wanted to do and what I like and what I want. Like I said, I don't know if there's a perfect one in here, but again, I think if you combine things and you molded all 3 of these together, you'd make a perfect one. So they all have good attributes and good contributions to the industry and to the show ring as far as when we're looking at cattle. I went with the black steer again. I think this steer is really good on the move. I think he's the soundest calf out here as far as hitting his stride, reaching out and covering ground. Again, a steer that balances up very nicely. Heavy muscled calf, big topped in that short line into that hip, carries that width and dimension down deep. Again, wide based, wide through the center portion of his quarter. You know, the one thing I struggle with this calf, he gets a little cut more up in that flank, and I'd like to change that and keep that depth from that chest floor all the way back just a touch more, just to change him. And I think that would make him exquisite, a very nice featured type of show steer if we could just change that little bit about him. But I think everything else all fits together very nicely that he puts together in a nice complete package. A little bit more moderate as well. The blonde steer coming next. Again, I really like the overall design. You know, the way this one's designed, the sleekness of his neck, and then just explodes into a big body type of calf there. Again, a steer that's got enough width and dimension up high, maybe gives up some of that lower quarter down through that twist, maybe not quite as wide through the center portion of his quarter compared to the steers on either side of him, but I like those balance and I like the way he's put together. This steer, while he's in second, again, he struggles off that front end. I'd like to change that angle to that shoulder, get him to reach out off that front end just a little bit more, drive off that rear end when he gets out and goes. But a really unique made kind of steer on the stand really gives you a nice look. I like that blonde calf there as well. A third place calf, a little bit different compared to those 2. This smoke colored calf, again, he's a little bit larger frame, a little bit longer spine type of calf, maybe not quite as much rib shape and dimension through the center portion of his body compared to those 2 steers ahead of him. But again, I think a steer that's really functional as far as foot size and getting out and reaching when he gets out and goes. To me, he gets a little bit weaker up over his top. Doesn't quite have as much shape and turn to that loin. Doesn't have quite as much shape to that lower portion of his quarter compared to some of those steers ahead of him. But again, I think a really high quality steer there as well. I just like to soften him up for his size and scale that he is, explode him and blow him apart a little bit from behind when you get in behind that calf. A really easy doing feeding type of steer is the black calf the young man comes with next. I mean, this guy is just a ground pounder. Big top, big butted type of calf. Probably a little bit too much as far as the way he's designed, as far as his coarseness. Get your hands on him. He's fairly soft over that rib. I'd like to lean him up, freshen him up through that first 1/3, down through that chest and out into that rib cage. But again, a really heavy muscle type of calf, and you certainly have to appreciate that about him. I like the leanness and the freshness of the calf that rounds off the class. Really long spine, fresh in his overall handle when you get your hands on him. Again, a steer, we have to modify him as far as structure, and that's what gets him down into this 4th hole here today, is we just need to free him up off his front end, free him off his rear end, just to get the balance up and put a lot more good things together. But again, a nice long, lean made type of steer, going to go on and have a higher yielding carcass on the rail. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Nice trio of steers.
Congratulations to our Class 4 exhibitors. First, Madeline Rhodes. Second, Peyton Zepp. Third, Jackson Rippian. Fourth, Wyatt Mass. And fifth, Gabe Dell. Reading down your program, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. Our rate of gain awards for that class was Rhodes white, Rippian white, Dell blue, Zepp white, Mast red. Last class of crossbreds are entering the ring at this time. Raylan Wagner, Bodie Griffin, Molly McGee, Christopher Martin. Steers are weighing 1402 to 1489. We need our first place crossbred steers in the holding area at this time. Charlotte Pollock, Levi Savage, Savannah Roberts, Madeline Rhodes. We're going to be doing our champion bred and owned selection first before we do our overall grand champion steer. So we will be looking for Peyton Troxel, Peyton Davis, and Lexi Zepp Again, we will select our bred known champion prior to selecting our overall grand champion of the evening.
Nice steer on the top end of this class, this blonde calf that comes out. Again, you know, we're kind of pushing that envelope as far as weight. You know, he's just over breaking 14, but again, I think a really good calf. He's got a lot of natural thickness. He's the most naturally muscled steer in the class. And again, a steer, when you set him out in motion, he gets out and travels really well off of both ends. Stout from the ground up. Again, long spine, big top, big hip. You get behind this calf and he's stout, wide-centered, puts a lot of good things together. You know, he's not blessed with the thickest hair coat, but he really doesn't need it because he's got enough shape and enough look. Everything ties together very nicely in this calf. Again, I think a real nice place to start for me here in this class. The mouse-colored steer coming next and second. Again, real practical type of steer. Maybe not quite as much dimension and expression of muscle compared to our class winner, but a really well designed. He's level out through that top, ties in behind that shoulder, all the way out through his back of his spine, out through his hip. He's deep-bodied. He's well-made. Again, a steer that's very functional on the ground. You know, is he quite as extended or exquisite as far as the way he's designed through that first 1/3? Probably not. Maybe like some of the steers that we've seen out here today. But again, I just think a no-holes type of calf, just a good practical calf here to be in second. Puts a lot of nice things together. Black cap that comes third, the young man has. A little bit more moderate in his overall type and kind. But again, like I said earlier, these steers are really packed full of red meat. He's big top, big hip, one that just needs to be modified. I like to clean him up through that chest, like to make him flex a little bit easier out of that hock when he gets out and goes. A larger frame steer that rounds off the class the young man has here. You like his added overall growth and dimension. And again, puts a lot of good things together. For me, when you get your hands on him, he gets a little soft over that rib. I like to freshen him up quite a bit. You know, again, he's past 12 o'clock. We need to change that and freshen him up to make him a little bit more competitive in this class. Again, let's give those exhibitors a nice round of applause.
Congratulations to Class 5 exhibitors. First to Raylan Wagner, second to Molly McGee, third to Bodie Griffin, and fourth to Christopher Martin. Reading down your program, 1, 3, 2, 4. Rate of gain awards, Wagner blue, Griffin white, McGee red, and Martin blue. We're now ready for our champion selection of our champion crossbred. From Class 1, we have Charlotte Pollock with a steer weighing 1,015 pounds. From Class 2, Levi Savage with a steer weighing 1,233 pounds. Class 3, Savannah Roberts with a steer weighing 1,318 pounds. Class 4, Madeline Rhodes is exhibiting a steer weighing 1,330 pounds. And out of Class 5, Raylan Wagner is exhibiting a steer that weighs 1,402 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our Crossbred Steer Division winners. Our Crossbred banner was donated by Cody, Megan, Wyatt, and Casey Cashman. At this time, we need our bred and owned champions to return to the ring. We're looking for Peyton Troxel from the Angus division, Peyton Davis from the Shorthorn division, and Lexi Zepp from the all other breed divisions. Again, we will select our bred and owned champions prior to the Grand Champion Drive.
Again, let's put our hands together for this crossbred division. And again, nice set of steers. You know, we get down, we look at the lineup that's out here, and again, you know, we get our butterscotch steer on the one end and another butterscotch steer on the other end, and two steers again that are on the far end of each spectrum as far as where they are in their stage of their maturity and end weight and market weight. But again, I think all these steers all the way through from the ground up are functional. They have enough meat and muscle to them. You handle good. Again, steers that can get out and move and travel, and yet they can still give you a look. You know, there's some give and take here, and again, there's probably not the most ideal one that you're looking at out here today, but again, I think there's good quality and high quality steers. And to me, I struggle between two. There's things I'd like to change about either one of them, but again, you just have to lay priorities down and what's important to you as far as the balance and completeness and putting everything together in the most complete package. So again, I think there's two out here to do that fit that very well. Again, if you would, give these kids another nice round of applause. I'm going to get you a champion in reserve.
Congratulations, Raylan Wagner, for exhibiting the champion crossbred steer. Molly's going to re-enter the ring with her steer weighing 1,119 pounds. And your reserve champion was exhibited by Madeline Rhodes with a steer weighing 1,330 pounds. We are going to select our champion bred and owned steer first, and then we will move into our grand champion steer drive here at the 2022 Maryland State Fair. In the ring now, we have our bred and owned steers. These exhibitors are competing for the 2022 title of Champion Bred and Owned Steer. From our Angus division, we have Peyton Troxel with a steer weighing 1,404 pounds. From our Shorthorn division, we have Peyton Davis with a steer weighing 1,243 pounds. And our all other breed division, we have Lexi Zepp with a red Angus weighing 1,264 pounds. Kelsey Zepp is exhibiting the red Angus, which weighed 1,264 pounds.
Again, let's put our hands together for our bred and owned division out here for these exhibitors. Again, you know, these kids own the cow that these are out of back home. They made the breeding decisions on these steers. They saw them from conception all the way to birth to getting to this end point and market ready, and fed them and got them there. And they all did a really nice job. All these steers are market ready. They got them in the right rig. Again, I think a really nice program, and way to recognize these kids that actually are in production agriculture with some of these cattle and have an influence from the breeding decisions all the way through our end product. Again, my hat's off to you for doing this. I think all three of these steers are very good. For me, it comes down to one. I think that's best balanced, puts a lot of good things together, is real practical and functional as overall type and kind. Give them another nice round of applause, and I'll get you a champion.
Congratulations to Miss Kelsey Zepp, exhibiting the bred and owned red Angus steer. I'm going to give just a second here, and we're going to start our grand champion drive. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment we've all been waiting for all evening. For a lot of these exhibitors, this is the moment they've been waiting for all year. Entering the ring, we have Madison Oler with a champion Angus weighing 1,274 pounds. Our champion Hereford Steer is exhibited by Ella Jacobs and weighs 1,406 pounds. Our champion Shorthorn Steer, exhibited by Dakota Bernard, weighing 1,330 pounds. Our champion AOB is exhibited by Blair Heath, weighing 1,159 pounds. Our champion Crossbred is Raylan Wagner with a steer weighing 1,402 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our grand champion market steer drive at the 2022 Maryland State Fair. I really have to announce our judge here this evening. He has worked the last 2 days with our youth. Scott Beyer is from Ringgold, Wisconsin. He farms with his family and has a cow-calf operation with his wife Mia, and he has 2 sons, Ty and Tucker, and a daughter, Callie. He raises Angus and red Angus cattle, and they show cattle all over the country. Please put your hands together and let's thank Judge Beyer for being here with us this weekend, supporting our youth, and sorting some really good cattle. Our grand champion market steer banner was sponsored by Dell Brothers Beef Cattle Company.
Well, again, if you would put your hands together for these exhibitors out here in this steer competition here tonight. Excellent set of steers. First of all, I want to thank Maryland State Fair for inviting me here today and yesterday. Sorting through your cattle and your showmanship. Great set of kids all the way through. Again, let's give all those kids a nice round of applause that stepped through this ring, no matter if they were first or fifth. Also want to thank our ring helped out here all day, yesterday as well. Thank you. Guys lining up the classes too. Again, give those guys a nice round of applause, and the people up on top running the show. Again, an excellent set of steers. You know, there's some give and take when you get down to this point. And like I said earlier, you know, my family were raised cattle. I'm the third generation Angus breeder there. We've judged a lot of shows all over the country. We show a lot. Our family grows together because we show together. And again, I think this is a great opportunity for a family. I can't think of a better way to raise kids, to teach them responsibility, teach them hardship, and to be gracious and humble at the same time. I know how much time it takes to put into this stuff, getting cattle ready, getting them fed. It takes a lot, and it takes a group of people. It's not just one person doing it. One person can't take credit. It's everybody working together to get it done. So hats off to you as exhibitors, as family members, and people that are helping these kids and giving them guidance. You look at steers, and again, I talked earlier, you know, you look at structure, and some guys really don't care about that as far as a market steer, but I think as a breeder that raises cattle, it's important because you got to think of the contemporary group where these were born from. They could have been females. They still need to be functional. They still need to be practical, but we also have to have that show ring look. We have to have that added power. We have to have that added presence, and I think these cattle do that very well. Like I said earlier in the heifer show, you know, there's nothing wrong with being happy for somebody else. We know how hard they work to get here. Everybody loves to compete. Everybody loves to win, but not everybody can win. I mentioned again, and I'm going to mention it. I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to mention again about opportunities in this industry. People that you meet and friendships that you make in this industry are going to travel with you no matter where you go. Some of my best friends I only see maybe 3-4 times a year, and I know if I had a problem, they'd be right at my door helping me out. And that's just the ag society in general. That's the livestock industry in general. And again, I think there's a lot of good that comes out of having kids participate in livestock events like this. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with failure. You learn from your failures and you change things so you can be better and be more successful. And this is going to help you in life, with whether you're in the livestock industry, in agriculture or not, or you take a job in something else. You're going to learn so much from this that's going to help you in life and make decisions for you down the road. I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm just going to lay it out there that there's two steers that just hit me real hard. They're going to be your champion in reserve. I don't know if you can make them any better at this stage of the game. I don't think you can design them any better. I don't think they can look any better. Both these exhibitors need to be super proud of these two steers that are going to win here tonight, not to take anything away from all the other exhibitors out here, because these are good quality calves. So let's give them a nice round of applause. I'm going to go select your champion in reserve.
Your grand champion steer was exhibited by Miss Ella Jacobs and is from your Hereford division. Again, your grand champion steer is your Hereford from Miss Ella Jacobs. Reserve coming in the ring is going to be exhibited by Holly Shelton and weighs 1506. Congratulations, Holly Shelton. Exhibiting the reserve champion Hereford is now your reserve grand champion market steer. The 2022 Maryland State Fair. Congratulations to all our exhibitors. I'm going to turn the microphone over to the Beef Committee to discuss the sale options. Thank you.
If you'll bear with us for just a few moments, we're going to get into the selection of the sale steers. We'll let the judge get in on some pictures. Those of you, first of all, who had breed division champions, I need each of you to come up here and let us know if you have a breed division champion, you're automatically eligible for the sale. So please come up here, first of all, and let us know if you want to sell those breed division champions. And the rest of you, if you'll hold tight, we'll be with you in just a moment as to the rest of the selection process.